This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. John Cena has publicly apologized to China, speaking Mandarin on one of China's popular social media platforms. He apologized for referring to Taiwan as a country in an interview promoting F9, whatever that is. There's a lot of heat between Taiwan, and even though Taiwan's part of China, I know there's some issues with that because they are self-governing, and China has used its economic influence to monitor speech regarding Taiwan, which is a very sensitive political topic. China is one place I will never go to because they literally cook dogs alive because they eat dogs there. And the fear gland that is activated when they cook these dogs alive, either by burning them alive or boiling them alive, they say makes the dogs taste better. And I'm a big dog lover. I have a dog that I pretty much consider my kid. So I will never step foot in China. I'm actually disgusted by that practice that they do there. There's a lot more details on Marcus Bagwell's arrest, also known as Buff Bagwell. He's facing more than 15 charges. And surprise, surprise, this case took place in Cobb County, Georgia, home of none other than the Big Boss Man. Now, the interesting thing, and I'm sorry for the people that are offended that I find it funny, but I have no pity for a lifelong screw-up like this guy. No pity at all. I think he's a total loser, and he's lucky he hasn't killed anyone yet. And I hope he gets a serious punishment because he is going to kill someone innocent if he keeps this type of behavior up. And apparently this actually happened in the afternoon because he was arrested at 1:25 p.m. So I'll just go through some of the charges again for people that didn't see my update yesterday, even though almost 30,000 people have seen it. He's facing 3 charges of not returning to the scene of an accident. So in other words, 3 hit and run charges. 2 charges of following too closely, failure to yield when entering an intersection, speeding, driving within a median or emergency lane, driving on the wrong side of the road, not fulfilling his duty upon striking a fixed object, driving under the influence of drugs, and reckless driving. So authorities are seeking witnesses. Bagwell was driving a 2013 Chevrolet Tahoe while driving west on Cumberland Boulevard towards Cumberland Parkway in Cobb County, Georgia. Man, I can't stop thinking about the Big Boss Man's theme song. I wonder, I guess Bagwell didn't read the signs in Cobb County, Georgia, that you better respect the law and order, according to the Big Boss Man song. So anyways, there's a few different times on here. Okay, there's 2 cases. Okay, sorry, I'll say the correction. There's actually 2 cases involving Bagwell. The one that took place last year is another one where he lost his control of a vehicle around 5:18 p.m. And this is what I was talking about. He hit a curve, struck the center median and the metal fence inside the median, before driving towards oncoming traffic on the opposite side of the road. His car then hit the curve and collided with a porta potty next to a bus station. Bagwell was then transported to a hospital in Marietta, Georgia, with serious injuries. Investigators believe Bagwell was impaired on prescription medication during the collision. He suffered a broken right hip, broken rib, broken left eye socket, a torn groin, and a bruising. So that was August 18th, 2020. Okay, and I guess he actually had a warrant out related to these charges that was part of all this. And he's going to go to court related to those charges on July 22nd. The second case happened at 1:25 p.m., May 22nd, 2021. So he did this again less than a year later. And this was a hit and run. Again, he gave a false name, a false birth date to law enforcement. He was also following too closely and didn't exhibit his driver license on demand, and he had an open container of alcohol in the car, according to this report. Bagwell will face charges on this one from this year on July the 23rd. So he's a big screw up and he's going to kill somebody. So let's hope he goes to jail for a long time. And WWE cut a lot of people today, mostly behind the scenes people. Nobody whose name stood out to me, so I'm not even going to bother reading it. But if you want to research it, just search WWE cuts May 25th. When I do my Wrestling Observer review this Friday, I'll go into detail on it, but I personally don't care about these digital content people that they fired and all these people I've never heard of. I feel sorry for them, but I tend to report the news that I find interesting. Coastal Championship Wrestling, probably Pablo Marquez, because I believe that's his company, says it's insane. Don't know if he's talking about what the Chinese do to dogs or Bagwell's insanity. Sam Lentz does not like John Cena. Someone else says Cena is apologizing to his master. Daniel lost respect for Cena. The Bandit says he's pathetic. Let's also not forget that the COVID came from China. Geraldo saying F9 is Fast and Furious 9. Thanks for clearing that up. Mike Piper's downstairs right now. Jason says John Cena's a sellout. Someone else says Cena's bowing to the Democrats and communism. By the way, John Cena is supposedly going to be involved in, the rumor has it, at least one of the upcoming Texas WWE tapings. They're doing a pay-per-view, a Raw and a SmackDown in Houston, Fort Worth, and Dallas. One thing I find funny, the WWE comes to Fort Worth and Dallas. Unless I'm missing something, I lived in Dallas the past 3 months, and Fort Worth is like half an hour away from Dallas. So I'm surprised that they go to both Dallas and Fort Worth. Although I do know those towns don't necessarily like each other. I know that Fort Worth people, from the ones I met, do not like Dallas people. They think the Dallas people are stuck up. I did like most of the people I met in Dallas. Other than at the gym, I found people at the gyms there who were not friendly overall compared to Canada. Any thoughts on this small Ring of Honor leg slapping wrestler? I've only seen a few highlights because I think this Gregory King might be his biggest fan. Kept mentioning him. Someone's kept mentioning him, so I searched him. I don't like small wrestlers, and I don't like wrestlers that slap themselves when they throw punches. I've trained a lot in Taekwondo and kickboxing, and never have I been told in any martial art, even when I was training in MMA, I've never been told to slap my thigh when I kick someone. Do I like dogs better than cats? Yes, I'm allergic to cats. The Bandit is also bringing up that COVID came from China. Some people, like President Trump, called it the China virus. The Centennial does not like John Cena. Mike, we know you are a dog lover. Mark does not like John Cena. Ivan Santos, can I explain ring psychology? I'm not a believer in that stupid shit. When I wrestled, I just like to go out and fight and beat people up and hurt people and get violence because I'm a violent and aggressive person. And I like taking it out in a legal manner as much as possible. Thank goodness. Most of my years bouncing were the years before cell phone cameras, but I did notice in my last few years bouncing, as soon as you take someone outside, everyone has their cell phones out to record you. So it became a lot more difficult to deal with people. Unbeatable does not like John Cena. He calls him a disgrace to America. Naval Sailor seems like John Cena needs help. Mitch says the big boss man's from Cobb County. Yes. Peter Carr, the American male Buff Bagwell. Whoever came up with the lyrics to the American Male's theme song was a genius. Anthony, how is Vince going to handle this Cena mess? Well, Cena apologized, and I believe WWE is on good terms with China because I've seen them. I think WWE are the ones that encouraged China or John Cena to speak Mandarin so he could promote them better in China. Jason Worse says now at least those who have been booing Cena every time he appeared now have another good reason to boo him. I agree. I honestly lost respect for Cena too on that. And anyone that's been following me for a while knows that I admire his accomplishments in wrestling. I have nothing against him as a wrestler. He's one of the most successful wrestlers ever. And the last actual superstar that there's been in wrestling because Roman Reigns hasn't matched him yet. Judy Bagwell needs to whip his behind. Akeem, I don't really want to even talk about that situation anymore because it's over and I'm moving on to bigger and better things. And I don't think they're going to even be around much longer the way they're going, to be perfectly honest with you. Dick, Taiwan is actually part of China. That's the whole reason Cena had to apologize. There's a lot of political stuff going on there that I've never claimed to be an intellectual. Heinrich says another WWE superstar that hates America. Buff can share stories with Tammy Sitch. Those two would be a great. Actually, honestly, those two really need help because they both have a lot of driving while impaired issues. But maybe there should be a reality show about them spending a lot of time in rehab. Kung Fu does not like Cena. Jeff says Cena was probably forced to apologize because he's currently in China. It's very possible. Like, I'm sorry, but as I said, I almost want to cry because I've seen some of the videos. I made the mistake of clicking on some of those videos where they actually torture these poor dogs. They don't kill them in a humane way. They actually torture them before killing them in China. So it just completely disgusts me about their country. Not to mention this whole coronavirus crap that I had to spend almost another $1,000 on weights today because gyms are going to be closed to nearly August here in Ontario, thanks to our poor government here. Even though there's hardly any cases in my town, we're all being punished because Toronto has high cases, which is another reason to hate Toronto if you're from Ottawa, which is, by the way, our enemy city. The 10-cent story sounds like Buff deserves to be in prison. Like, you could seriously make a movie just about his last arrest from the 15 or so charges that he's made. Bob Newfart says they should cut the WWE. Dick says Cena sold his soul. Diane says it sounds like a forced apology by Cena. Well, he gets money there. Horn Dog, it's not just Justin Trudeau, it's the person that runs Ontario, Doug Ford, who's actually from a different political party and is probably a worse fuck up than Trudeau. I've never really hated politicians until now, but the way Canada is going with this repression, everyone like around Ontario is really depressed right now. DJ says COVID, animal abuse, human rights violations, no sanitation standards, environmental polluters, communism, you name it. He does not like China. Yes, wake up, Canada, for Christ's sake. Why are we so far in the dark ages? Nicholas says AEW is a comedy show. As I said, I don't watch AEW or WWE. I said this a bunch of times. I don't hold it against people that like it, but it's not my taste. It's not my flavor of protein. Who was the crackhead? That was Doug Ford's brother, Rob Ford, who's dead now. It's his brother that's ruining Ontario right now. And Donnie Wilson became a new member. I don't know where that, there it is. Thank you for anyone that's a member and helps support this channel. This week we have Francine on Friday at 2 p.m. being interviewed. Dave Sullivan from WCW this weekend on Friday. And on Saturday, The Goon, also known as Wild Bill Irwin. I'm going to interview him. Shane Douglas says he's also going to do one with me, but he says he's going to do one this week, but he's a really busy guy. So who knows? He's going to do it eventually. David, I agree. The Leafs suck. What's Lanny Poffo's poem there? What does it say? Oh, yes. I am the genius, Lanny Poffo. I always know what's up. The Leafs will never, ever, ever win the Stanley Cup. To quote Lanny Poffo. Mike, there's no way Ford is worse than Trudeau. Well, I hate to tell you it. I'm living it. And I can tell you that Ford is worse than Trudeau. Naval remembers watching Wild Bill at the Dallas Sportatorium. And we'll leave it at that. Thanks for all your comments. Have a great night.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot